All right, today is November 12, 2022, and today I want to talk about good form or even perfect form when it comes to lifting and lowering weights when you're doing proper exercise. So, super slow methodology used properly is very particular about the form that's used, the speed of movement, the turnarounds, how you change directions and how that's done, your breathing, your position of your head, all these things are really important when it comes to that. Now, so I'm going to digress a little bit and say, now some people will say the form does not need to be that perfect. There has been some studies out, for example, on speed of movement that shows that whether the cadence is 10-10, 3-3, 2-2, 4-4, meaning 3 seconds up, 3 seconds down, or 10 seconds up or 10 seconds down, there's no noticeable difference in the results. Now, having said that, I don't know whether or not, at those speeds, what other changes there has been to the form. So first of all, to back up again a little bit and talk about what the purpose of doing a set of exercise is in whatever form you do it, if you understand or if you agree with the idea of inroad, is that the purpose of it is not to lift the weight, a certain amount of weight a certain amount of times and improve that from time to time. That is a byproduct as you get stronger. But when you're doing a set of an exercise, your goal is to fatigue the muscles or inroad the muscles as deeply, as efficiently, and as safely as possible for the purpose of stimulating the muscles to make a positive adaptation. Now, having said all that, I mean, you're fatiguing muscles, even with lousy form and things like that. Obviously, if you're working hard enough, you're just not doing it as safely, you're not doing it as efficiently. There's issues about safety and things like that that come into play. So going back to my earlier statement about does the form need to be as perfect as what, Ken Hutchins would say. For example, Ken Hutchins these days is even talking about even any dynamic exercise is going to have some discrepancies, and he prefers time static contraction. So, where I land with this is sort of, if you do say, pretty good form is good enough, I sort of think of the slippery slope that you go down. What I've found is that when I find it's okay to loosen my form, over time, slowly but surely, my form gets worse and worse. And sometimes either I watch myself on a video or I watch somebody else on a video who's doing it right, and I recognize that there have been deterioration in my form. So my point being is that if you do allow it to deteriorate beyond a certain point, all of a sudden, one of a couple of things. One, there's possibility of an injury. Second, the tracking and recording of your progress may not be truly progress, but it simply may be a reflection that your form is loosening. And, one of the things, an analogy that I use is I used to work in an office setting where there were a dress code, back when dress codes were allowed. These days, apparently, dress codes are not allowed in the workplace. But what I found is if the leader, if the manager in the particular office adhered to the dress code, perfectly, then people would pretty much follow suit, or if they digressed, they only digressed so much from that standard. But if the leader or the manager, loosened things up a bit, if he went from a suit and tie to a golf shirt, then next thing you know, other people would follow, but they would, if he would reduce it by 5%, they'd reduce it by 20. If he ever came in with a t-shirt, they'd be wearing cutoffs and jeans and whatnot. So similarly, I find that the example and the high standard that is kept by people like Ken Hutchins and Drew Bay and others is perhaps not necessary, and some people would say it's overly analyzing things. But I also think that if you start to loosen it up, next thing you know, form can deteriorate very badly. So what I like to do, there's a particular individual, his name is Doug Simmons, who has filmed himself doing exercises on Facebook. And I'm very pleased. I'm just going to share a screen of one of his exercises here. And I just got to find this. It should be in Safari or desktop. Where's Safari here? Got too many things open. I should have closed these before I started. So Safari, there it is right here. All right, so I'm sharing. So hopefully I'm doing this right. So here is Doug, and he's beginning a set of pull downs. This is a Life Fitness, but it's very similar to front lat pull down. And I'm just going to walk you through the things here, and if there's sound here, I'll turn the sound off. So first of all, you see that he's moving very slowly. I haven't timed it, but I think he's going very close to 10 seconds. Now I like that first of all, he's coming down and he's not bringing his elbows further behind his torso, which if you listen to Bill DeSimone, is maybe taking the, I'm just going to pause that for a second here, is taking the emphasis off of the targeted muscles, which this exercise would be primarily the lats, but also obviously he's pulling, so the biceps are involved. At the lower part, even the triceps are involved. And of course the grip, note that he's using some wrist straps there, so maybe not working his grip as much, but what he's trying to do is eliminate a weak link, I would think, and so that his grip doesn't give out before the other muscles give out. The primary targeted muscles here is the lats. So the idea, now you'll notice here he's at the top turnaround, and Bill DeSimone, if he was watching this, might say this a little higher. This is a little bit higher than I go. I usually go to where my elbows, and the way I instruct my clients, to where my elbows are just above the shoulders. And of course it depends on the design of the machine as well, because what I find is that the shoulders are prone to impingement if you go beyond a certain height. Now what he is doing really well, there's many things here. His form is, I'm inspired to improve my form from watching him. So first thing is the turnarounds. Notice here there's a significant pause, and as he starts to move, it probably takes him 1, 2, maybe even 3 seconds to do the first inch. He speeds up slightly. There's a pause again here, and this is a thing of beauty, how he just barely begins the rep, and then continues to go, and there we go, there's the hold, and the very gradual turnaround. Turnarounds are really important because for safety and also for not unloading the muscle. So here he goes again. Notice also his head in a perfect neutral position. He's not making faces, he's stoic. His breathing, I don't have the sound on, but I know that his breathing is always good. Notice a little bit of a face here, but remaining relatively stoic. He's actually held it there for even more of a pause. You can see here he's getting close to the end. Is he going to try another one, or is this it? Yeah, he's trying this other one. Notice his mouth is open, he's breathing freely. Breathe, breathe. Sorry, I'm coaching him here subconsciously. There it is. There's a great pause, starting to make a face, but you can see him fighting doing that. And again, he was going quite a bit higher. The other thing he's doing, other than the stretch, is he's keeping his shoulders down, and the lats, the latissimus, the upper back muscles are being used to keep the shoulders down. And he's just struggling here to do the last rep. The intensity is great. He doesn't give up until he's quite sure about that. So I'm just going to stop the share here. So is it necessary to have form that perfect in order to get results? Absolutely not. Anybody who works hard, but I'm going to back here. There we go. Sorry about that. It went into another video. So sure, you don't need to, and Doug McGuff uses a good analogy. If you do multiple sets, or if you do haphazard form and things like that, it's kind of like if you're driving from here to a destination, say, whatever, 5 miles from your house, and you go straight there efficiently, you don't waste any time, and you go straight there, you get there as efficiently as possible. But if, on the other hand, you decide that you're going to take some detours, do some sightseeing, stop at a farmer's market, maybe decide to go down a couple of bush roads that you didn't know, just to explore and things like that, but eventually get there. You will get there, it'll take a lot longer, there'll be a lot more wear and tear on your vehicle, and there'll be more of a chance of getting in an accident because you're on the road more. Particularly if, maybe you could also do it while texting and things like that, so compromising safety, to just finish the analogy. Anyways, great form. I still think, even though it may be not necessary, I think everybody should strive to do the absolute best form that they can. Doug Simmons, hats off to you. Great role model for showing how that can be done in order to really work on what you're trying to do with proper exercise. Notice Doug in his comments often says you don't need to do multiple sets if you do one set right. Anyways, all for now. Sharing always appreciated, and subscribing, and welcome all comments. Bye for now.